Well, video logging, I guess, again, or daily journal, whatever you want to call it. All right, so you got to look at the previous post on my Facebook. It's a lead into this video. I want to discuss, and I still have memories coming forth, the rescues that you see, or not see, but that you hear about going on, but you don't know why they're not in the news, of where the children are from the rescues. This Hannah program, and it's just one example of the military industrial complex subcontractors gone nuts with what they think they were going to do with all of us, turning us into super soldiers. And I mean, you watch this video and you wonder why these like Sandy Hook type shootings can go on, and all these others. Is he says right in there, you just flip a switch once they're programmed. This is just one aspect of where many children are rescued out of these programs, and they're shut down one at a time. And you're not going to hear about them because they don't want to panic the world that this is actually going on by these military subcontractors. And the military knows about it. They use subcontractors to remove themselves from any liability. They get the okay. It's all run behind the scenes, and then they can have no accountability because it's like third removed or second removed or fifth removed through down the chain, so that they can say, oh, our division? No, we didn't have anything to do with it. We don't know anything about it. But they do. It's all, you can trace it back. And then they use us in their military programs after they build us into soldiers. And there's many types of soldiers. We've talked about the beta programming versus the super soldier. And that's the type of programs that condition society how to act. Your beta programmed act as, espionage agents and have sex with a lot of people. And, of course, they're called names, but they collect info. And your super soldiers that aren't modified with empathy or anything turn into serial killers or people that they use for killings of, like Sandy Hook and things of that nature. And it's usually not psychological issues, but they know they're going to throw these people under the bus because they've come out of these programs and they've made these people like this. So all they have to do is pick up a phone and hear a code word or see a color or somebody a noise, like it's there. The way the training goes when they're in these programs is there's a trigger spot connected, and once you get the trigger, you're already trained with what you got to do. These people are sick to have these programs running. Now I'm guessing part of my memories that won't come back, and I don't know for sure because I haven't gotten as many confirmations as I needed, but I think several of us were put in these programs. That's why I can't find any parents on my birth certificate, and the military decides they own you because your DNA was modified not only by them, but then modified again by ETs and stuff like that. But your DNA's been modified. That's what they do in these programs. They modify your DNA. They use like wolf DNA. They use different animal DNAs, trying to bring out certain aspects they want you to use you for. So watch the trailer, and I suggest if you want to understand the beta programming and super soldier programming to watch Hannah, because that's more truth than it is not truth. These programs, these rescue groups that are created that go into these programs, they find these locations. It's not just the sex trafficking trade and all that. These are the type of rescues that they're doing, which take strategical backing, and they can't always conform to the laws because the people who make the laws are running them. They have to be creative in how they do these rescues and get these girls out of here, and then you have to totally reprogram all these people and try to get them to a healthy state, spiritual healing, and also other types of healing, because you don't want to just, in the past, like the 20 backs and stuff, they just kill people off when they're done using them. Or they'll set scenarios up where they'll set a shooting up and then they'll allow them to get shot within the shooting so that they eliminate, and it looks like they were, protecting society from a criminal, when in all reality they set that person up because they were done with them with this program. And then they'll set stuff like Sandy Hook or any of these others, and then when the killer gets shot, they got rid of one that they were done with out of their program. And that's kind of how that works. So understand how the multi-layers with the whole shootings, the school shootings and stuff go. They put these kids in these situations in these schools, and when they decide they don't want them, or they're not complying a certain way, or they need a false flag ran, then they do a trigger on these kids and they complete the task. And if they're done, they'll just have the police shoot them, and it looks like they're the heroes because they've shot a serial killer or a school shooting killer, when in all reality they wanted them eliminated. It was called on for an execution, and that's how the execution played out. So it's really important, if you can take the time to watch Hannah, all of it, because you'll get the full impact of what's been going on here on Earth. And there's many survivors to tell those stories, and that's going to be coming out too soon. These survivors are going to be kept in a safe place while they tell their stories, because it's time for society to know that these aren't just random school shootings. They're actually militarized, triggered by the military industrial complex subcontractors that are hired by the military to create, it's another form of hybriding above and beyond the ET stuff that the military industrial complexes are hired to change people's DNAs, just like they did in the show. And then they have the control medicine that they use, which, your ADHD kids are put on Ritalin. How many of the ADHD kids that are in trouble all the time, come from these programs that they're trying to reintegrate back in somehow? I'm being serious because this is a serious issue. They're located all over Earth, in other countries, in these countries, and this Hannah show really depicts what's really going on with why people are kind of so nutty, or what we think is nutty. They're trained and then executed, but the executions are set up like the Sandy Hook shooting, so they have a reason to kill them. That's their execution. I mean, they could kill them off easily, but and dispose of people. But the thing is they're already integrated out into society, and they want to get their false flag ran, but they also want to. The person, he or she, might have served their purpose, and that's the way they dispose of them. And when we watch some of these series, it's really difficult because it triggers memories of stuff. Feelings, where you can feel it so deeply that you... And with these memory swipes, we don't know what programs, we were totally in, all of them. And whether it was here on Earth or other places, but... it's a hard one to watch some of these series because the triggers happen of you get little flashes of memories of certain things. A lot of people do. But just like I've always said, like the Halo and the SG-1 series are like more disclosure with a little bit of flair to keep you watching. And this Hannah show is that same. A lot of your children are being rescued, like this man in this series tried to rescue this little girl. They show how she's captured. They take advantage of vulnerable single moms or young moms, and they promise them a good life for their baby, and they think they're adopting them out or they can help them, and they have plants set up to jump on these pregnant women, pregnant girls, teenagers, and they get the babies and put them into those programs. when they go to, after they've done the programming, they want to integrate them back into society. They pick a family, and an identity is created with a birth certificate so that you have a family to live with. And then they try to do your triggers and trigger you to do crimes or do whatever, depending on the program you're in. But that's how they've done it, is it's not as, I mean, there might be some of the programs that run like this movie as far as the fake family. But much of what's gone on here in real life is they take the children after programming them and try to normalize them as much as they can. But they're also super soldiers, which could explain possibly why I was dove on by 6 officers for a crime I didn't commit. They had some idea I must be dangerous or something, because maybe I came out of one of these programs and was a rescue, which is entirely possible. But those memories, you know, I don't know for sure yet. Those are still rolling in to see where I connect, because there is some weird connection with Misty and I. So some of the trafficking starts out with just a single teen mom or young mom, no father around. Sometimes it goes with couples that just don't want to have a baby. Generally, they have a plant out, and they approach the vulnerable woman and try to befriend them. And then they refer them to somebody who could help them with an adoption. In all reality, their kid's actually going into one of these programs as an infant. And they're kept there, and they're mind controlled, and they're mind manipulated, and their DNA is altered, and they're trained. Then you get a memory swipe, so you don't remember any of it, and all of a sudden, you know, you're 20 back and you're with a family or something. That's another way the 20 backs were being used. Or you get integrated with a memory swipe of certain things. And this is how they've done it. Yeah, it sounds crazy, but this is the kind of stuff that they don't want brought out. The military-industrial complex is heavily infiltrated with negative stuff like this. But don't be fooled, because the military has known about it, and they actually recruit people out of those to make military teams on and off planet. That's how they've done some of this. It's not just ET experiences. It's these type of programs like Hannah. And this man goes to rescue her and fights to keep her alive when they just want her dead, because she was part of that program and is proof. And maybe that's why a lot of us in society are being tested right now spiritually, going through the tests. Because they want to make sure they fixed whatever programming, you got to get unprogrammed here. And maybe that's even as deep as that go. Another layer of the onion peeled back is that they wanted to give us all good lives and not let us be all killed off like they normally do. And so we have to pass a lot of tests to make sure that we can get rid of the programming that we were given. It's not just about the TV, television programming. It's this other stuff. And prior to that, they would just kill people and eliminate them because there's no trace of them anywhere. And they get these babies born, and there's no birth certificates because they're born in their facilities, not hospitals. It's all fake identities that are created. And it's very inhumane. It's like euthanizing a dog when you're done with it, and whatever. It's not something that should be happening, and it has been. So when you hear about, or like we watched the one lady, we posted her TikTok videos, people question and say certain things to her about her rescue stuff that she does. It's stuff you can't talk about because it's so connected to military and government that you got to let somebody else handle. When they said, oh, where's the arrest, where's this, they don't want the general public panicking if these things are out in the news, so they never make the news. They're covert. Because these kids are tortured. And I've talked about the Stranger Things thing. It's all the same types of programs, just different aspects and different programs these military industrial complex subcontractors have been asked to do by the military. So they can create their little super soldiers. So maybe a lot of the tests that we're all going through is just to make sure we can still be okay. And not be triggered by the programs. They've tried to deprogram us all. And a lot of us probably came and got rescued out of those. That's a lot of people who can't find their parents. Some of it might be galactic trafficking. Some of them might simply be just the worldwide trafficking, and we've came out of these programs and they've tried to normalize us in some way and fix us if that's the case. So watch Hannah. I strongly suggest to take the time and know it's more like disclosure to see this show with flair for TV. But these are actual programs that are running on Earth right now, which causes your, Sandy Hook shootings, and you can just go down the list. It's how they do it. They control it all, and then, they put stuff on social media saying this person was seeing a psych doctor, this person was on meds, and blah, blah, blah. They come out of these programs and they're just used, and that was their assassination time. And they got their little false flag off and got to assassinate the person they don't want to tell their story. So they assassinate them right away. Yeah, you might think that's a big accusation, but if I didn't think it was the truth, I wouldn't be saying it here right now. And that's why I'm being super serious. So I just think it's important for society to know that this is how these gunmen and gunwomen are trained to pull off this kind of shit. We've been abused by as humans terribly, but then you're disposed of because you're no longer needed. And that's how they get rid of you. If they've already integrated you into a family after getting you out of those, or not maybe getting you out of you were placed there to use later. Like the guy said, it's like flipping a switch. We can get them to do whatever they want, whatever we want. And thus goes your false flag people. Your ops workers for your false flags just get triggered by code words and colors and whatever else they use, depending on the program they come out of. So you know how it's working. Have a good day. No, it's night now. Have a good night. Sleep well.